Tell us in what minute of the video you spotted the first doodle who definitely made the mess. When humans go to sleep, their world goes quiet. But in Doodland, that's when everything begins. In one ordinary-looking kitchen, with its ordinary-looking counters and ordinary-looking cupboards, something very not ordinary was waiting. Hidden on shelves, in drawers, behind jars and inside boxes, lived the kitchen Doodles, everyday objects with faces, feelings, and way too much personality. On the counter near the stove lived Spatty the Spatula, a flexible little doodle who dreamed of being a superhero. Next to him sat Poppy the Pot, who boiled with drama at the slightest inconvenience. On the windowsill, Sippy the Mug watched the world with warm, sleepy eyes, and in the utensil drawer, Forco and Spoonella argued daily over who was more useful. And way at the back of the fridge, behind 3 suspicious leftovers and a jar of pickles that had seen things, lived Frosty the ice cream tub, always one wrong spoonful away from an identity crisis. The clock ticked. The lights clicked off. The last human yawned, checked the locked door, and shuffled off to bed. The moment the bedroom door closed, the kitchen woke up. The fridge light blinked twice and then steadied. The stove gave a tiny metallic sigh. The sink pipes let out a few bubbles like a clearing throat moment. And then Sippy the Mug broke the silence. "All right, my little kitchen disasters," she said. "We're officially off duty. Party time?" Spatty jumped up. "Kitchen chaos night," he shouted. Forco tapped his tines together like a drum roll. "Let the nonsense begin." Spoonella rolled her eyes, but she was smiling. Every night, the kitchen Doodles had a routine. A wild, silly, magical routine that humans never saw. But tonight felt different. Poppy the Pot could sense it. Her lid rattled in anticipation. "I've got a bubbling feeling," she muttered. "Something big is going to happen." First up was the great counter slide, an unofficial race from one end of the counter to the other. Butter wrapper, bread crust, and tomato slice lined up at the edge. 3, 2, 1, slide, yelled Spatty. They launched themselves across the countertop, gliding on crumbs like tiny surfboards. Bread crust spun out halfway. Butter wrapper veered into a spoon. Tomato slice slid perfectly, until he hit a patch of oil and flew off the counter with a dramatic whee! He landed safely in the fruit bowl, but still, chaos point. 1. Next, the fridge door swung open. A chill filled the room. Out waddled cheddar chip, a chunk of cheese with a square face and naturally sharp features. "Did someone say party?" he asked. Behind him rolled out Frosty the ice cream tub, already anxious. "Is it safe out here? Is it too warm? This feels like a risk. I'm melting. I'm having an existential meltdown. Oh, wait. That's just actual melting." "Relax," said Sippy, patting Frosty with her handle. "You'll be fine. We'll keep things cool." Up above, on the shelf, Salsera the sauce bottle watched the chaos like a queen surveying her kingdom. "If anyone stains the tablecloth," she declared, "I will not be held responsible for the drama." The kitchen was noisy now. Light clinks, little thuds, tiny scrapes and laughs. But in the middle of this buzzing mess, a tiny voice asked, "Can we, maybe, not destroy everything tonight?" Everyone turned. It was Tiny Tupper, the smallest plastic container in the cupboard. He stepped out, lid trembling. It takes so long to clean everything," he said. "And the humans always think it was them." Spatty paused. He liked chaos, but he also liked Tiny Tupper. "Okay," he replied. "How about controlled chaos? Fun, but not disaster." Poppy snorted. "You do remember who lives here, right?" The night carried on with Doodle energy in full swing. They bounced, slid, rolled, and danced. Salt and Pepper did their usual duet. Salt shook out a dignified sprinkle. Pepper sneezed dramatically and sprayed everywhere. But then, halfway through the night, something went wrong. It started with a simple idea. "Let's cook something," shouted Spatty. "Not for the humans, for us, midnight doodle snack." This was objectively a terrible idea. Poppy the Pot lit up, literally. "Oh, finally! My moment!" she cried. Spoonella sighed. "We don't have thumbs, or recipes, or common sense." But chaos had already voted yes. They gathered ingredients. Flour from cabinet 3, sugar from the back shelf, some milk from the fridge, a suspicious egg that swore it was still good. Spatty led as head chef. "We're making cake!" "What kind?" asked Sippy. Spatty hesitated. Kitchen cake?" "That feels dangerous," muttered Tiny Tupper. They poured flour. Too much. They added sugar. Way too much. They cracked the egg. It went everywhere except the bowl. They tried to stir. Spoonella got entirely swallowed by batter. "Help!" she yelled, muffled under a layer of goo. Poppy heated herself up. "All ready!" she shouted. "Pour it in!" The batter sloshed, splashed, dripped, and kind of oozed into Poppy. Some landed in her. Some landed on her lid. Some landed on the stove. Some, somehow, landed on the ceiling. Spatty stared up. "We're gonna blame that on gravity." Poppy puffed with pride, warming the mix. But as the heat rose, so did the chaos. The batter bubbled. The sides overflowed. One bubble popped and splattered Salsera's label. "My dress!" she shrieked. "I am not an apron!" The batter spilled over onto the stove and sizzled. Smoke began to curl upward toward the human smoke detector. Forco gasped. Is the fire alarm a friend or no?" "No," said everyone at once. The kitchen filled with a faint burning smell. Not disaster yet, but getting there. This was officially too much chaos. "We have to stop it," cried Tiny Tupper. "How?" yelled Poppy. "I can't turn myself off." Frosty rolled forward bravely, scooting closer than he'd ever dared to a hot stove. I can cool her down," he said shakily. "Just open my lid." Spatty stepped up. "I'll do it." He flipped Frosty's lid, and with a heroic wobble, Frosty tipped just enough for some melting ice cream to splash into Poppy's overflowing batter. There was a loud hiss, a puff of steam, and then everything settled. The smoke stopped rising. The batter calmed down. Poppy exhaled a steamy sigh of relief. That was intense. Frosty was half full now, but he smiled. Worth it. The kitchen fell silent for a moment. Then Sippy spoke softly. "We almost set off the alarm. We almost woke the humans. We almost turned this whole place into a disaster zone." Spatty looked around. Batter drips, sprinkle explosions, flour footprints, a smear of chocolate on the fridge. "Okay," he said slowly. Maybe Tiny Tupper was on to something. Tiny Tupper blinked. "I was?" "Yeah," said Spoonella, wiping batter off her face. "If we're gonna play, we have to be ready to fix things too." The Doodles looked at each other. Poppy tilted her lid. "Cleanup party?" Sippy nodded. "Cleanup party. Cleanup party!" everyone shouted except Frosty, who said, "Can it be gentle cleanup?" They got to work. Spatty scraped batter off the stove and walls. Spoonella stirred the remaining mess into something less terrifying. Sippy fetched water from the sink and splashed a little where needed. Forco picked bits out of crack and corners. Salsera, even with her stained label, used her side to push crumbs off the edge. Tiny Tupper took charge of holding all the extra gunk until they could toss it. It was hard work. It was messy work. It was way less glamorous than the great counterslide. But slowly the kitchen returned to itself. By the time dawn's first light crept through the window, the counters were clean. The stove looked normal again. The suspect cake experiment was hidden deep in the trash. Only a faint smell of mystery dessert lingered. The Doodles rushed back to their places. Spatty lay perfectly still beside the stove. Poppy stayed on her burner, pretending she hadn't nearly exploded. Sippy sat peacefully by the kettle. Forco, Spoonella, and the other utensils lay in their drawer like good little tools. Frosty slid back into the fridge, a little emptier, a little prouder. Tiny Tupper stacked himself neatly with his family in the cupboard, heart glowing. When the humans woke and walked into the kitchen, they sniffed the air. "Huh," one said. "Smells like someone tried to bake something weird in here." The other shrugged. "Must have been us. I don't remember, but I'm always tired." They opened cabinets, opened the fridge, moved things. Everything looked normal. The humans made their coffee, grabbed breakfast, and left, never knowing how close their kitchen had come to full chaos. As soon as the door closed behind them, the kitchen Doodles let out the breath they didn't technically have. Spatty chuckled. "Okay, That was insane, Poppy nodded. But also kind of fun? Sippy smiled. Fun is good. Disaster is not. Tiny Tupper puffed up, proud. We cleaned it. Together. Frosty, peeking from the fridge, whispered, I was brave. You were very brave, said Spoonella softly. The kitchen fell into a warm quiet. They had learned something important that night. Chaos is fun. But responsible chaos, that's where the real magic is. From that day on, the kitchen Doodles still played. They raced, they joked, they slid down counters and hosted concerts with the metal spoons. But they also kept an eye on each other. If things went too far, they fixed it. If something broke, they helped. If someone got scared, someone else stepped up to be brave. Because in the Doodland kitchen, being alive wasn't just about making a mess. It was about taking care of each other too. So if one night you get up for water and think you hear a very tiny shh, shh, clean that up before morning sound? Don't worry. That's just the Doodles in your kitchen, making memories, making messes, and making sure everything is okay again before you wake up.
A few moments later. Oh, help me! What are you doing? Hey, don't do this! Chimpanzini bananini, trallalero trallala. Tung 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 sahur. Help me! Oh! Da-da-da-da-da. Come on! Everybody dance! Ah. Hey! Hello! Okay. Hey! Hey, what are you doing? Don't touch me! No, no, please! Oh. Hey, what are you doing? Cool. Yeah.
Tomorrow, I'm sleepy.
Hey, please put your signature right there.
Hey! How dare